fuck is going on? All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. What's going on? We are live June the 1st, the first day of June. What's up, Noah Johns, Travie? Appreciate you all tuning in. We have got a lot to dive into here on this Wednesday. And, of course, we are taking your questions, your comments, and your calls as well. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Let's see. How about it? The first day of June. Very excited. Very excited for that, guys. I feel like we have officially entered the off season, or as much of an off season as one can get when it comes to college athletics and what we do and college football and all that good stuff. Baseball in our rear view, football season down the road. So right now, we're just kicking it, hanging out, chilling, having a good time. Again, I do want to hear from you all. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Guys, of course, as always, the Daily Crow is brought to you by our friends over at Carolina Ale House. Be sure to check out all of the Carolina Ale House locations across the state of South Carolina, whether it's Augusta, Columbia, Greenville, Myrtle Beach, Summerville, Fort Mill, you name it, guys. Any of the locations, they're all fantastic. Of course, we're traveling around the state in July and August, and, of course, our watch parties throughout the football season. They've got cold beer on tap, great food, plenty of TVs for you to watch games. So, again, guys, be sure to check out our friends over at Carolina Ale House. That's Carolina Ale House, guys. Of course, you're familiar with them, your destination, your spot to catch all your sports. And a great place to just go eat and have a beverage as well. Brennan M., what's going on? Ronnie Pace. Miller Time says, are we going to suck ass this year? Miller Time, I don't think so. I don't think we are. I think we're going to be a pretty solid football team. Cody Branch says, what's good, everyone? There is no off season. Yeah, I agree, Cody. I will say, though, this month, June, is the most off-season months of all the months. Like, if I had to rank the busiest months, or the most, I don't want to say most productive months, but if I had to rank the months in regards to peak in season versus off season, June is probably the most off season month of all, right? June is probably the most off season month of all. Zach Brown says, great podcast. Really feel for Kevin Madden. Yeah, I do too. Virginia Tech's out there being a national seed. Meanwhile, he's stuck with us. So, you know, I don't want to continue necessarily this conversation from yesterday. I don't know if he's tuned in or not, but Luke RJ, I mean, I've got to give Luke RJ some credit, man, because I tell you what, to have the type of spin that Luke RJ has had on social media the last 24 hours, to see things in the glass half full perspective that Luke RJ sees them, you know, basically just saying that the 90s wasn't a complete shit show and that we weren't dog shit in the 90s in football, like, to try to spin that we weren't and be using 5 and 6 records as a reason that we weren't is, I honestly respect it. At this point, I respect it. There isn't many guys that give me more hell in the mentions and more hell in the comments than Luke RJ. So you know what? Cheers and a kudos, because Luke RJ gets the beauties and the banter. So cheers and a kudos to Luke RJ, man. Luke RJ, you do your best to keep me on my toes, but my guy, we're going to agree to disagree, because Carolina football in the 90s was dog shit. And I'll reiterate that and say that over and over and over again. And I know Luke RJ was concerned about recruits seeing that and hearing that. Luke RJ, number one, if you're going off to a school based off what somebody says on Twitter, you're an idiot. And number two, there ain't no recruit right now being recruited by Shane Beamer that gives two shits how good or bad we were in the 90s. Nobody gives a damn. If it were the case, Florida State, Tennessee, these type schools wouldn't have problems getting football players. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to spend the entire show on that, but I don't know. Luke RJ is just passionately defending that we were some good football program. 84th in the country in win percentage. Yeah, that falls to me in the dog shit category. Maybe we got different definitions, though. Michael Drigger says, thoughts on Monty Lee? Yeah, Clemson firing their head baseball coach. Listen, I get that Lee has been there longer for sure. I think he just finished his 7th season, 7th year. Maybe it was 7th season, whatever it was. So he had been there longer. It's disappointing. I mean, again, it's just disappointing that Clemson's willing to make a change and South Carolina's just sitting there all complacent on their hands. I understand that Clemson's not paying multiple buyouts. I get it. It's still extremely disappointing. And you know, here's the thing. Monty Lee got fired. At least Monty Lee was liked. At least Monty Lee is somebody that I don't think I haven't met many of people that have anything bad to say about Monty Lee. Monty Lee, great to people, loved in the community. Just didn't work out at Clemson for whatever reason. They just couldn't hit consistently enough. So, Monty Lee out as Clemson baseball coach, but it's just disappointing on the Gamecock side that they're making a change and we are not. Tommy Wallace says we should be talking about how we will do in the regional this weekend. Still hard to swallow it. Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Tommy. My mind outside of the SECU stuff, which the show will drop tomorrow. We're going to talk. Just kind of looking ahead to the regional weekend. I'm going to make some picks. Outside of that, on the Gamecock side of things, my mind is so at this point removed from baseball. I mean, it really is, and I hate to say that, but you know what? The reality is, we're not in a regional. We're not in the postseason. My mind is so, from the Gamecock perspective, so beyond the baseball side of things. Here we go. Cody Branch says, normally a whole lot of official visits happening in June. Did you see our last recruiting weekend? We're now predicted to land three more 5-star players. No problem getting players. It's been development for Tennessee. Cody, and listen, I respect it. Folks like 24/7, Rivals, they've been able, On 3, they've been able to create very successful platforms by covering recruiting extensively and doing crystal balls and all this. And that's great. That's great. And while, it's fun to hear about how things are going and follow recruiting for sure, especially when you're landing commitments. But like the month of June, you're talking about, we got all these official visits. Like, I got to be honest with you, Cody, like I couldn't give a damn less about reading about how some kid's official visit went. Like, no kidding, he had a good time. He got everything for free. The facilities are beautiful. Like, I've never heard, very rarely do you hear about kids going on official visits and they don't have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the bare minimum. The kid should have a good time. The kid should have a good time. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyways. We'll see. I mean, South Carolina last year, remember, June was a huge month for us recruiting-wise. We're going to need another one because South Carolina's only got a couple of guys committed for 2023. So you're going to need to pick up a good bit, I think, of your commits in this month and in July, of course, as well. But, the slowest month of the year, I would argue. If your baseball team's not playing, June is by far the slowest month of the year. At least in July, we got SEC Media Days. We don't even have that. We don't even have that in this month. This month. Jackson Harriet says, we will beat Clemson this year in football. Love to hear it. Hey, love to hear it. I hope so. Let's see. Anyways, guys, we are taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Again, guys, get your questions in now because I'm thinking this is probably going to be the last week of the Daily Crow for a couple of weeks. Going to take some time off from TDC. Again, we're slowing down. Things are really slowing down. And, I've never taken time off before, really. I just feel like this is the one time a year where I can do so. So I'm not saying we won't pop in every now and then, every other day or every couple of days, whatever. But, we will not go the normal noon to 2 Monday through Friday probably for the next couple of weeks. I just, again, this is the best time of year to take a step back, to work on some other things, to get after some other things business-wise. So, that's probably going to be the plan moving forward as we enter the month of June. Like I said, this is the time to do so because once we hit, we're going to take July 4th off. We're going to take July 4th off. And after that Wednesday, Friday is when I'm dropping my official predictions for the season. And then, after that, we're rolling as far as preseason content. So, we'll be doing the Daily Crow, talking on my predictions, projections, opponent previews, position unit previews, all that good stuff. So, really excited for all of that. Let's see. Let's see. Travis says, enjoy the break, see Philly. I mean, Travis, I'll still be active all over social media and the podcast is going nowhere, but I just feel like, again, I'm not going to say we sit here on the Daily Crow and we do nothing because we have conversation, but at some point, right, there's just not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, there's just not. There's just not. You know what I mean? And like I said, it gives the opportunity to work on some other things business-wise, to game plan. You know, I'm obviously also trying to balance my personal life and moving over the next month and a half, trying to find a place to live. So, you know, I think it'll give us an opportunity to take a step back, even if it's just for a week. Because, I mean, guys, I know myself. You all know me. I'll say, hey, we're taking the rest of the month off, and I'll get a weekend and be like, dude, I hate this. I hate this. I want the Daily Crow back. I miss it. So just roll with the punches as you always do. By the way, guys, join the Big Cock Club today. Patreon.com/Big Cock Club. The Big Cock Club newsletter will drop later today. I promise you it'll drop. I told Brendan and I told the Big Cock Club, if it doesn't drop by 5 p.m., y'all reach through the computer, y'all reach through the phone and punch me in the face. So that will drop. Also, guys, you guys let me know what you think about this. I'm thinking about running like a 24-hour flash sale for the Big Cock Club merchandise, making it available to the masses, available to the public. Is there anybody out there that would be interested in buying some Big Cock Club merch if we were to open it up for 24 hours? Ronnie Pace said, you see one of the SEC podcast guys on the Paul Feinbaum show the other night said the upset of the year would be Carolina, Georgia. Yes, that was my good buddy Michael Bratton. Yes, I did see that. I don't know who that was. It was just calling me. Probably somebody calling about a property or something. Who knows? Anyways, let's see. Ronnie Pace, did they win last night? Oh, the Braves, I think you're talking. I don't think so. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. Angel the textbook, in your opinion, Chris, what's the best decade of Gamecocks football? I would say the 2010s. I think this is someone that, let me just do this. They don't realize that I'm on a live show, so I'm going to decline the call because that's not one of our callers. That's not a caller for the show. Let's see here. Again, guys, 843-790-3372. And the question was, though, best decade of Gamecock football. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the 2010s. I mean, it just has to be. I mean, you think what happened in the 2010s, you know, you won the SEC East, you won 3 straight bowl games, 3 straight 11-win season. I mean, do you realize you won, let's think about it. You won 9 games in 2010. So from 2010 to 2013, right? You won 42 games. You won more games from 2010 to 2013 than you won in the entire decade of the 90s. Like, just think about that, how crazy that is. 14 was a solid year, won a bowl game. Obviously, 15 was terrible. 16 bowl game, 17 bowl game, and you won the Outback Bowl. 18 bowl game, didn't win it. 19 terrible year, 20 terrible year. And 20 counts for this decade. So, I mean, overall, yeah, you got to say the 2010s. And that's the craziest thing. That's the craziest thing. You know, when we talk history, when we talk realistically the history of Carolina football, guys, wake up and smell the roses. Because when you keep perspective and you think about where Carolina football has been and where it is going, guys, we are in the midst of the greatest decade or two run in the history of South Carolina football. And that might not be saying much to some people, but again, when you keep perspective, and again, you think about the 90s, and you think about the 80s, and you think about the 70s and the 60s, and all those decades prior. I mean, think about all the victories and all the successes and all the bowl wins and everything Carolina football has accomplished since 2000. Just think about the last 2 decades. I mean, Carolina football is in the greatest run in its history. Truly, when you think about it. And I would say that to say also to any recruit out there, any prospect considering South Carolina, I say this. Who gives a damn what Carolina football did in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s before you were even born? This program in this millennium is trending up. And there's no reason why South Carolina football can't turn into a power. There's no reason why South Carolina football can't turn into a real contender on a year-in, year-out basis to get to Atlanta and play for an SEC championship. There's absolutely no reason. You got the facilities. You got the fan support. You've got the coach, in my opinion. You're in the best conference. Everything you need, you got it. Everything. NIL opportunities, everything you need, you have it. There's no reason why this football program, there's no reason why the University of South Carolina, across all of its athletics teams, there's no reason why South Carolina cannot be an elite across the board. So, answer the textbook. Here's a fun fact. Before 2000, South Carolina finished ranked 3 times. Since 2000, they finished ranked 6 times. Yeah, I mean, again, we are in the greatest run. The last 2 decades, greatest 2 decades. Gamecocks, what was your reaction when Brian Edwards caught the one-handed catch against Tennessee? I was like, crazy. I thought it was crazy, for sure. That was a heck of a catch. Okay, gotcha. That was an apartment complex giving me a call. How about that? Let's see. Ronnie Pace says, this decade will be as good or better than the 2010s decade. Ronnie, that's bold. That's bold. I don't have the numbers specifically pulled up, but we won a lot of ball games in the 2010 decade, my guy. So you think about how this decade's starting out. 2020, miserable. Last year, 2021, 7-win season, bowl victory. So, hey, I mean, sky's the limit, right? Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Panic Ritter, congratulations. Happy birthday to Panic Ritter. He says, it's my birthday. I'm 30. You're dirty 30. Congratulations, Panic Ritter. He also says, my goal is to get a girlfriend. Do you know anyone, Chris? Panic Ritter, I can't say I'm playing matchmaker here on the Daily Crow. I can't say I know anyone off the jump. But I feel confident, my guy, for you. Your dirty 30 year, that's going to be the year for you. I feel confident in that. I do. Let's see. Dusty Rhodes, I came in late. We aren't losing TDC, are we? Dusty Rhodes, like, are you talking like forever? Because most certainly not forever. What I said earlier, Dusty Rhodes, is that we will run through the end of this week as normal. After this week, we're probably going to take a week or two hiatus, maybe longer. I don't know. The month of June, though, is the most off-season month we have. And so I just feel like, you know, I never take a step away. I never take a step back. I feel like this is the month, if I'm going to do so, to work on other things and pursue other things. This is the month. This is the time. You know, so this is the time to do so. That's probably going to be a plan at minimum next week. I know for a fact next week, unless things are happening, news is happening, right? News is happening. Yeah. So, but I think we are going to take a week or two. Yeah. But the Daily Crow is not like going anywhere, right? I just don't want to be going live for 2 hours every single day from the studio and just the topic of conversation be like, there's just like pretty much nothing going on. I mean, again, this is the slowest time of year. Let's see. Let's see. B. Hughes, Clemson pulled the trigger. Here we are with Kingston. So, yeah, I know. Again, happy birthday, Panic Ritter. Happy birthday, Panic Ritter. Travis Allen, Chris, is Landon Sampson's brother a good ball player? Haven't had time to do any research on him. Apparently, he played receiver in high school. I mean, do I think he's going to play? No. I think it's one of those things where Landon's coming to school and his brother's getting out of the military and wants to go to school. And I think it's just, hey, why not? You've played, come walk on. You know, I don't expect his brother to play though. I don't. I think it's. I don't think we'll be talking about his brother anymore. To be honest with you, no, that's no disrespect, but I'd be surprised if he ever played. Hunter Johnson, all the taters dogging your posts on Facebook is annoying. I mean, Hunter, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, unless I can't block everybody on Facebook. You know what I mean? It's just at some point, Clemson fans are they're going to troll, and it is what it is, and you got to keep it moving or ignore them, or I don't know, hell, man, go to battle with them. I don't know, whatever you want to do, but, kind of just is what it is. So, let's see. Hunter Johnson, all publicity is good publicity, yeah. Even if it's the Taters. Even if it's the Taters. Even if it is the Taters. Anyways, guys, we are taking your questions, comments, calls as well. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Let's see. Somebody commented and said, Tanner Land says, Rebecca is available, Panic Ritter. Indeed. Justin Langford, how about we bring Monty Lee back on staff as hitting coach and bring those Easton bats with him? Justin, I just don't see any way that Monty Lee would go from being the head coach at Clemson to an assistant under Mark Kingston.
Robbie Davis, a.k.a. Kirk Street.
Robbie, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Well, to answer the question that somebody asked you about the Braves game, the Braves lost last night 8-7, and they play today at 3:40.
They play today at 3:40. Is that correct?
That's what I saw on.
Yeah, you're right. 3:40 because they're they're in Arizona. Interesting for sure. Gotcha. Yes, I see 8-7 last night. 8-7.
Yeah. And I'm hoping, I ain't heard nothing, but I'm hoping I'm able to go to a Braves game with my bosses from Zaxby, because that's what they said they wanted to try and do this year.
Yeah, for those wondering, Braves are 10.5 games out of first place. So.
Good God. Well,
I mean, if last season taught you anything, it's to not overreact, because I mean the Braves were, I think, under 500 like 3/4 of the way through the year and won the World Series. So,
Yeah, that's why I'm not really panicking.
5 games out of first in the wild card, they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. And I feel like once the Braves hit their stride and start, hitting their groove, I think we'll be okay. I think we do have enough talent on the Braves to try and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
But like I have said before, whenever you're at the top of the mountain, getting there is hard enough, but staying there is even harder. Because everybody else is trying to do the same thing you did last year. Plus, you have a target on your back.
Right.
So, for all the Braves fans out there, don't panic. I mean, the season started a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the Chop On show. Chop On show.
Yeah. So just no reason to panic yet,
Nope. If you're panicking already, you're a slapdick. It's all good. Just. There's only one rule in life. Just don't be a slapdick. You do that, you're doing just fine.
Right. Shoot, if I had a way to get to Myrtle Beach, I'd be in Myrtle. I would have been in Myrtle Beach yesterday, because a friend of mine that lives in Myrtle Beach, he's getting married today.
Really? Married on a Wednesday?
Yep. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, dude, you're getting married on a Wednesday? I was like, that's odd, because most people get married on like a Saturday or a Friday, but mostly on a Saturday. But you're doing it on a Wednesday? But I told him, I said, I would be there if I could. He said, and he told me, I know. I said, exactly. But I'll see him next week whenever I go to that camp for a week. So I'll see him next week. But I think on the topic of that I kind of agree with you. I don't think that dude that came with his brother that's in the military or what have you. I honestly don't think he'll get. If he does play, he won't get a lot of playing time.
Because, I mean, I don't. Listen. Listen. Here's the thing. There's some guys you add to the roster. You've got a certain number of players you can keep and certain number of guys you can have. I mean, you don't. Not everyone, believe it or not, is added to the roster with the thought in mind of, oh, they're going to be a contributor, or they're going to play, or they're going to do this, or maybe this kid's going to be a scout team guy. But like, is he ever going to play, or are you ever going to hear his name? Are you even going to remember his name a year from now? Probably not. That's okay. But it just, not everybody's Jaheim Bell. Not everybody's Spencer Rattler. Some guys are,
right.
That's how it goes in college, right? In the NFL, you have a, whatever it is, 50 whatever man roster. They're all pretty much, they all play. They're all contributors, whatever. You got your starters, you got your backups, but like, these are all professionals. In college, you have walk-ons. You have guys that, I mean, they're all going to get an opportunity, but realistically, there's just some guys that, I mean, you go to a spring game. Go watch the spring game. You know what I mean? There's plenty of guys I'm sure people saw. They're like, who in the world is that guy? You know what I mean? Like, I've never even heard of that guy.
Right.
So.
Right. If you want to see guys that you're probably not going to see in the season, you go to a spring game. Because Jaheim Bell did not play in the spring game, along with several others.
Many starters did not play in the spring game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just why would they?
Several people that are going to be starting did not play in the spring game.
Yeah, it's like, why would they? You know what I mean? So.
The only person that started the spring game that was a starter is Spencer Rattler. And I think Beamer is going to have another. I really do think he'll have another great recruiting cycle for this month. We just gotta be patient and see how it goes. It's gonna go one of two ways. It's gonna be great, good, or horrible. But either way, it's gonna happen. And I still stand by my statement a couple of days ago. If the offense doesn't work this year with the pieces that we have added, Satterfield's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think, Robbie, you are one of many with that take. Like, you're not – I love to say you're a trendsetter, but I think you're far from it, my guy. I think there's many folks that are right there with you. So.
Oh, I know.
Which isn't a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like everyone else. I'm hoping that our offensive line actually blocks people this year. Okay. Because, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. But we do have basically everybody coming back from last year's team, right? On the offensive line perspective of things.
Yeah, we got them all back. Yeah, we got them all back. I don't know if that's saying much, but we got them all back. So, experience is something that can be a little overrated from time to time because,
right.
if you're, I mean, you know, it'd be like, you know, me saying if you played a lot of golf, Robbie, but you were dog shit at it, you could say you got a lot of experience, but I don't really give a damn. You got bad experience. You're not very good. So, yeah, I mean, the whole O-line's back, but they didn't play worth the shit last year. So what does it mean? You know what I mean? If they're not better than they were, what does it mean? You got experience. Cool.
And of course,
just because you got experience don't mean you're worth the shit.
Right. And of course, the games against Georgia State and South Carolina State ain't going to show us nothing. It's the games against like Arkansas, Georgia, and all the other conference games that we have. That will be the telltale sign of how the offensive line is this year.
Yeah.
Because we should absolutely dominate the line of scrimmage against Georgia State, South Carolina State, and Charlotte.
I think I'll tell you this. I think we should win the line of scrimmage. Maybe dominate strong, though. Maybe dominate's a strong word. Georgia State averaged 226 yards per game running the ball. So listen, that spread came out at 11, and I was like, what? That feels low. But as I read up on Georgia State, and I'm not trying to crown Georgia State, obviously, but I mean, let me just put it this way. We're not playing EIU again. We're playing much closer to like an East Carolina like we played last year. And it's a game we should win. I mean, no question we should win. But, you know, it's a game where, and this might be stating the obvious, but it's a game where if we don't come out and play good ball, if we turn the ball over, we could lose. I mean, flat out we could lose.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's one of those games where, you know, again, I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't take care of business. I'm not trying to say we shouldn't cover the 11-point spread. But looking at the matchups, like, yeah, we better be better on the line of scrimmage, because if we're not better, I mean, here's the thing, Robbie. We couldn't block anybody last year. It wasn't like it was SEC play. We couldn't push ECU around. We made it look difficult to push EIU around, which was basically like playing a high school team. That's really what that was. That was a scrimmage. That's really what that was.
Yeah, I was at that game, so I could tell we weren't really doing so well.
Right. So, I mean, I'm just, you know, again, definitely we should win. I'll go out on a limb and say it's a game I'm going to pick us to win. But make no mistake, you know, we've got the guys, the skill guys, to beat Georgia State and take care of business. We without a doubt. But you better block. You better block, because you let Georgia State get in a rhythm. You let Georgia State start pushing you around up front. They start running the ball. I just think it's one of those games, if you're not careful, you could look up in the fourth quarter and say, oh, shit, it's a one-score game. Oh, shit. And once Georgia, once you're at that point, all the spreads and you're Carolina and we're Georgia State, and all that's thrown out the window. At that point, it's just anybody's game. So I think the key to Georgia State is get ahead early, you know, I don't know if I want to say put them away, but get ahead, stay ahead, and don't let them think that the upset is possible, pretty much. So
don't give them not even one shred of thought of we're in this and we can win it.
Right. But I mean, I don't think it's going to be a game we win like 42-10. I think it's going to be a game that's, you know, a 2-touchdown game. You know what I mean? And that's, I know for some fans, you know, if we don't win by 21 or more, it's we didn't do our it's a bad game. You know, if we won by 21 points, I would sign up for that right now. Be ecstatic, be happy. Hey, go beat them. If we won 34-13, I'd be ecstatic. Take that, ride into Arkansas with it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 34-24 type or 34-23 type of victory. It wouldn't shock me.
Right. And like I have said to you, and I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face.
Blue in the face.
I don't care who you're playing against. Just because you're better than a team on paper don't mean you're going to win the game. Because it's all about who plays and prepares better that wins the game. The team that prepares better is the team that's going to win. and the team that plays better is going to win. That is a fact. No matter who it is. So going into the game against Georgia State and South Carolina State, we need to show them that the reason you're here is to get an ass whooping. And that's what they're going to get. And I've said this before. We need to come into those games with we're not going to let this school come into our house and push us around. We're not going to let them do that. This is our domain. This is our house. No one's coming into our house and bullying us. We're going to be the ones doing the bullying. And make them fight and claw and scratch for every single thing that they get.
Robbie, you need to either be a motivational speaker or a football coach or something, man. I mean, I hate that your wisdom, your prophecy is going to waste on just the humble Daily Crow. You really ought to be getting paid for these appearances. Because when you talk ball, Robbie, you don't talk it the way I talk it. You talk it in a sense of like spirituality, you know. I need you speaking somewhere, man, for sure.
Oh, goodness.
Anyways, didn't mean to cut you off there.
You're good. And like I'm gonna use the Citadel game from 2015, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
We got 2015. And I've said this before too. The reason we lost that game, was not only just because we weren't really that well at dealing with the triple option. That was not the reason why we lost that game. That's only part of the reason. Okay.
Right.
The main reason why we lost that game is we let them stay in it the entire time. If you let a team like that stay in it, they start gaining confidence, and then it gets harder and harder to beat them. That is why whenever you play a team like the Citadel, you've got to put them away early. And make sure they stay down. And show them that, hey, this crap ain't gonna fly no more. We're gonna kick your ass, and you're gonna take it.
Well, I'll try to spread the message to Shane Beamer best I can, my friend.
Okay. And one of the things that my dad used to always tell us whenever he coached us in Little League, he'd always tell us, I don't care what the score is at the end of this game, as long as you give it everything you've got for the next hour and a half, I'm going to be proud of you. Because Little League games didn't last very long. So he'd always tell us, as long as you give me everything you got for the next hour and a half, I'm going to be proud of you. And my only job, I played on the offensive line and the defensive line occasionally. And if I was on defense, my only job, he didn't give me a specific job. All he said was find the guy with the ball and hit him. So I'd find the guy with the ball, and I hit him hard. And if I knew the guy was a sitting duck, I laid him out. And but we need to come into, even though yes, it's because the season opener is against Georgia State, right? Mm-hmm.
That is
I
indeed
would
who
say
it's against, yes.
I don't give a damn that we're playing Georgia State and Sean Elliott. Okay, much respect for Sean Elliott. I got much respect for Sean Elliott. But he's not on our sidelines anymore. He's on the opposing team's sideline. Give this team an ass whooping that they will not forget. Same with Charlotte and State. Okay, they do not even, in my opinion, deserve to be on the same field as you. The only reason they're here is because they're getting paid. So prove to yourselves and prove to each other that they do not belong on the same field as you. Kick their ass. Period. End of story. And I think if we do that, we'll be all right.
Yeah, take care of your business. That's what it's all about. Take care of your business, man. And I think we will.
And I said that too. You take care of your business, and certain things fall into place. This could be a really good year for us. As long as we take care of business and win, everything else will fall into place.
Yep, we don't give a wet monkey fart neither. What do you think about it?
Oh goodness. But yeah, that's it. That's it from me.
Robbie, always a pleasure, my guy. I appreciate you calling in.
All right, thanks, man. You have a great rest of your day. Okay.
Yeah, man. You too. Appreciate it. That was a 21-minute call from our guy, Robbie Davis, and we appreciate him calling in, as always. And that's going to lead us into our first break. Guys, appreciate you all tuning in. I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back taking your questions, comments, calls as well. 843-790-3377. We got a question earlier from Tyler Gay asking, do you think that that Georgia State is as good as that East Carolina team that South Carolina played last year? You know, it's really tough to say. Are they as good? Are they better? Are they worse? I think they're comparable. Like I just think the type of opponent. I think it's a very similar type of opponent, in the sense that, again, it's not an EIU. This isn't a scrimmage. Like Georgia State's a good, they're a solid football team. I mean, they gave Auburn hell last year. Should South gonna win? Yes. But if the Gamecocks don't play good football, an upset could happen. And God, what a way. I mean, you talk about all this preseason hype and momentum. What a way to start the Spencer Rattler era with a loss to Georgia State. Can you, I'm telling you, if you want to see, I think I said this a couple days ago, if you want to see the worst of Gamecock Twitter, let us go lose to Georgia State. Honestly, let us just even beat Georgia State by a touchdown. Yeah, Tennessee lost to them. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Georgia State couldn't come in and play good football and give us at minimum a hell of a game. Dylan Potter just logged in. Did we talk about Monty Lee's departure yet? I touched on it really briefly, Dylan. I'm not surprised. I mean, I thought I like Monty a lot. I like Monty a lot. Just didn't get the job done. I mean, if as someone that, as an outsider looking at Clemson baseball and somebody who I hate Clemson, but they were not playing to their minimum standard and expectation. I mean, just flat out. So I'm not surprised that Monty's gone. And again, it's just a damn shame that Clemson's out here making moves and they're doing what they need to do to improve their program, and we're just sitting here on our hands. I mean, I get it. Listen, I get it that Clemson's not paying multiple buyouts. Understand it, but I tell you, I don't have any regrets in life, and I don't regret calling for a change at the top of the basketball program, because you make one tournament in 10 years. I understand going a different direction. But man, knowing what we know now, seeing how the baseball season played out, if I had to do it over again, I'd let Frank Martin return and make Mark Kingston walk. Because here's the thing. You're bad in basketball, so what? So what? Who cares? There are no expectations. You don't have a proud history and tradition. Being bad in baseball is not acceptable. It's not condoned. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It just doesn't happen. Dylan Potter, what are Monty's strong suits as a coach? We need a hitting coach badly. Dylan and everybody else. Monty Lee is not coming back to USC to be the damn hitting coach. He's not going. Monty Lee is not going from being the head coach at Clemson to being the hitting coach at Carolina. I would expect Monty to probably get a head coaching job somewhere else, honestly. I think he'll probably go somewhere else. But he's not going to come back to USC and work under Mark Kingston. Like, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He's absolutely not going to do that. Dylan Potter giving Tanner's comments towards Monty yesterday. Where did Ray Tanner speak on this? I didn't know Ray Tanner spoke on Monty Lee. I didn't see that. James, why would you even try to speak this to the edge of existence? I apologize, James. I speak everything into existence practically, outside of some obvious things that I don't. But let's see. Yeah, I mean, Dylan, I'm sure that, okay. So he said he has love for him. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does, man. They're close. They're still tight. Yeah, so they're still tight for sure. Also, guys, quick reminder, podcast dropped this morning. Podcast dropped this morning, episode 656, and I'm very excited for this, by the way, because again, these are conversations we don't really get to have in season. We don't get to have them at all in season, right? We're focused on games and specifically what's going down in season. June is a special month because it is the most off-season month of all. But I figured why not in this month have these fun off-season combos, things like uniform threads, top 5 rankings. That's what we begin today on the podcast, our top 5 series on the podcast. Just ranking different things, different lists. Everything from today is top 5 favorite games for yours truly to rewatch over the course of the offseason. Later this week, we're going to talk top 5 uniforms, home, away, and alternate. We're going to talk top 5 players at every position you can think of, top 5 coaches to coach Gamecocks football. Again, like all these random combos, these fun convos, these beauties in the banter convos that we don't necessarily get to have in season because we're so focused on the task at hand with each individual game. So really excited for that, guys. Tune in the podcast. A really fun one, I thought, today. And it's fun, too, today's show because, you know, while I was talking about my favorite games to rewatch, it's like you're basically reliving them as you're talking about it. Also, don't forget, great conversation with former Gamecocks kicker Ryan Succop. We had a fantastic time talking about his career. Super Bowl champion Ryan Succop, by the way. Super Bowl champion. So really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. Let's see. Travis Allen, do the Taters go after the North Greenville squad? Are you talking about, do you think Clemson goes after Landon Powell? Two things. Landon Powell's not taking that job, and Clemson's not pursuing him. I think people, and I don't mean this as disrespect, but I'm just going to say it. Like, I think people think Landon Powell's a much better candidate than he really is. Because it's a familiar name. Because it's a familiar name. But, guys, Landon Powell's a Division II baseball coach. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean he'd be successful at D1. It doesn't. It means absolutely nothing of the sort. Means nothing of the sort. Really, truly doesn't. So, like, personally, if we were to get rid of Mark Kingston today, I would not hire Landon Powell. I think there's guys that are more qualified that have shown they're proven winners at the D1 level, the Power 5 level, the SEC level. Like, just because you win at North Greenville, it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me personally. So, you know, that's no knock. You know, that's no knock on Landon, but I wouldn't go after Landon Powell. So, guys, we'd love to hear from you, your questions, your comments, your calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. And by the way, I want to say it on the live stream. I want to say thank you to the folks over at 1 Million Cups that had me out this afternoon, or excuse me, this morning, I should say, not this afternoon, this morning, that had me out this morning. Had an absolute blast talking about TSUS, my journey as an entrepreneur, plans for the future, ideas, mingling and interacting and networking with entrepreneurs as well, and those just interested in business. Had a fantastic time. And again, like I said, I just really want to say thank you to all those fine folks for coming out and giving me the opportunity to speak. So it was really, really good stuff. We had a good time. We had a good time for sure. So, and those of you who may have tuned in also, I did share the link on Facebook. So it was quite a challenge trying to put an entire 5-year journey in a 6-minute presentation. But Dylan Potter, is South Carolina baseball really still a program that can pull a proven Power 5 head coach, or are we too optimistic? Dylan, I think we can. Yeah. I think we can absolutely. I think this job needs to be treated as an elite job. I still look at Carolina as an elite baseball program. I mean, dude, Carolina baseball, it has everything. Great recruiting base, one of the nicest facilities in college baseball, a passionate, extremely passionate fan base, history and tradition. National titles have been won here recently. There are coaches that would crawl to Columbia, that would crawl. Dylan Potter says, but can it be done with Tanner as our AD? Here's what I'll say, Dylan, because I will say this. Big ups to Heath Klein on 107.5 The Game. I was listening to him yesterday, and he shared some perspective on this, and I want to share some as well, because I think it's time for Ray Tanner to step down as AD for many reasons. I personally want to see Ray step down. However, I'm going to say this. There are many things wrong with USC beyond Ray Tanner. And you look at the hires he's made, right? You look at the hires he's made. Muschamp was not a great hire. Did not turn out to be a very good one, right? And I think people have a lot of problems with the processes, right? And how they've happened, the processes of getting to certain hires. But on the baseball side, Mark Kingston, questionable from the jump. Like, the decision to promote Chad Holbrook was not a bad one. Guys, any AD in America would have done that. Any AD. It was the no-brainer choice. No-brainer. It was the no-brainer choice. It really was. I mean, the guy was regarded as maybe the top assistant coach in all of college baseball, was known as an elite recruiter. To give Chad Holbrook the job, to say that was a bad hire is foolish. It just is. It wasn't. It was the no-brainer hire. Absolutely no-brainer. So I don't put that one against Ray Tanner, right? The guy went after Kirby Smart and Tom Herman. Tom Herman didn't want to come here, and Georgia pulled the rug out from under you. What is Ray Tanner supposed to do in that situation? What are you supposed to do? Kirby didn't want to come here after Georgia opened up. Flat out bottom line, right? And this is not me sitting here defending that Ray Tanner's some great AD. I'm just trying to shed some light on, Dylan Potter asked, can we dive a little deeper in the issues of the board behind the scenes? Dylan, I don't know all the issues. I don't know exactly what's going on with the Board of Trustees. I really try to focus on the sports side of things. But obviously with the BOT, there's incompetencies. There's a disconnect. It's just broken. It's broken. And I'm not sure that everybody that's behind the scenes in the Board of Trustees I don't know that their number one goal and their number one focus is making the University of South Carolina athletically as good as it can be. I don't know that that's necessarily their number one focus. I don't. But again, I just, I'll be honest with you. And I don't know if it's because I still have admiration for Ray Tanner, or I just still believe in him as a baseball man. But yeah, I wouldn't, it would not kill me to see Ray Tanner go hire a baseball coach. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm a fool for that. Maybe I'm a fool, but But I don't know why Ray Tanner even wants the job, to be honest with you. I don't understand why he's doing it. And I don't think he'll be in that role much longer. I don't think he will. So, I don't think he will. Yeah, Muschamp was a bad hire. I mean, there's nobody. I mean, really, the damning thing about Tanner, it's not even the Muschamp hire. It's the restructuring of the deal to include that insane buyout. That's what it is. Right? That's what it comes down to for me. Luke RJ and I have been arguing about the 90s for 24 hours, bro. For 24 hours, Luke RJ has been going on and on. And I know, and I get it. Listen, I get it. I got a lot of love for Luke RJ, but Luke RJ is a fan in the sense where he takes shit personally. He takes this Carolina shit personally. somebody calls his team dog shit, that's personal. That's personal, right? That's personal, flat out. But guys, when I speak on Carolina, it's not personal. It's just calling a spade a spade. Calling a spade a spade. Luke RJ hates the banter. Luke RJ, I love the banter. I love it. What if we didn't have banter, what would we do? If we all agreed, it would be so boring. So boring. Like saying that I wouldn't say the 90s were dog shit if I was invested and I wasn't a child then is like saying I wouldn't say 2020 wasn't dog shit or 2019 wasn't because, bro, I'll tell you right now, 2019 was terrible. Awful. Dog shit. 2019 was a dog shit year. It was. You got to call a spade, man. There ain't no point in putting lipstick on a pig. There's no point in, as Robbie Davis says, putting cologne on a pile of shit. You know, I mean, let me put it to you this way. I'll speak on the 90s era of Gamecocks football like I spoke on the previous baseball season. When I gave the baseball season an F, my question will be this. If it's not an F, then what's an F? If it's not an F, what's an F? The best grade I would give the 90s is a D plus. Is a D plus. I'll give it a D plus. You won a bowl game. You won a bowl game. You hit 7 wins in a year. I'm just speaking. All right, you don't want to call it dog shit, fine. But the 90s was a miserable decade of football. Like, it was brutal. It was a brutal decade of football. Is there any denying that? The football was not good. Nobody was showing up to Willie B because the football was excellent or even remotely above average. Like, the football was bad. Good players. There were some good players. Steve Tannehill, Corey Bridges, Anthony Wright, John Abraham, God forbid. But it was bad football. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, but it was. It's fun and funny to look back on our past because I feel like we're so far removed from that. And I appreciate all the guys that were Gamecocks. And I appreciate, dude, I really appreciate the guys like in 99 that stuck around and came back and bounced back and won the Outback Bowl. What a story. What a story. But I got to be honest with you. Carolina lost 21 straight right now. Yeah, I'd go out of business. I think I'd probably go out of business. I'd probably go out of business. Luke RJ says, Chris, brutal is a difficult word. Luke RJ, what would you call it? You, my friend, are addicted to pain. You, my friend, are addicted to suffering then, which I guess to be a Gamecock fan, you kind of have to be. But you, my friend, you got a really twisted sense of the word fun, I can tell. You know, listen, I'll tell you this. I love creating content. So win or lose, I'll create content. If I was just back in purely the fan seat, I would not enjoy watching a team go 5-7, 3-9, 0-11, God forbid. There wouldn't be anything fun about that for me. Nothing fun. Nothing. Outside of getting pissed drunk at a tailgate. That's about it. Again, I'm not trying to like beat up on the 90s teams, but like if we ranked every decade of Carolina football, I think the 90s would be dead last or damn near dead last. You know, I don't have every decade pulled up, but it would be near the bottom for sure. It would be near the bottom. I mean, I get what you're saying, Luke RJ, that like there's a lot of reverence to those teams, reverence to those years, right? There were good moments. You beat Clemson a couple of times. I'm not saying it was all bad. But it was mostly bad football. I joke with Kirk Hollingsworth, USC superfan, at the USC, whatever. You guys know who I'm talking about. I joke with Kirk all the time. Like, Kirk, he's been to 366 straight Carolina games. Hasn't missed a game period since 92. Hasn't missed a home game since 84. I said, Kirk, you watched a lot of bad football in your day, my guy. I mean, you've watched a lot of bad football. And it's not meant as like a personal slight. It's just, he has. That's why it's kind of funny, right? When people say like, oh my God, we can't wear all black. You know, it's cursed. It's cursed. We never win in all black. Our record in all black's terrible. It's like our record in pretty much everything's terrible. Like, what do you like? Our overall record's not great. So what difference does the jerseys make? Uh, Luke RJ or who? Let's see. What are you replying to? If Luke RJ's trying to argue if I lived through it, I wouldn't call it dog shit. Luke RJ, I don't think you know me very well then, because I'm gonna call it as it is. And that record and looking at those records, and it was dog shit football. Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, Luke, and we can just agree to disagree, my guy. But again, if that's not defined as dog shit, then what is? What is? What is? Did we have to lose every game? It's okay. Listen, but it's this people like Luke RJ, guys like Luke RJ, fans like Luke RJ, they're what make college sports so great. Because Luke RJ, when I am saying this era was dog shit, Luke RJ, it hurts Luke RJ like if I said his mama was ugly. It hurts him like if I said his dad was a bad person. It hurts him like if I said your brother or your sister or your cousin, if I talked about his family. It's personal. It's personal. It's personal. I am blessed with the ability that I don't take all this nearly as personal. But to that point, it's almost one of those things where like you can talk about your family. See, Luke RJ could say that about his own mom or dad or cousin or brother or sister or whatever. But when somebody else says it, it's like, no. Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. So we can all speak on it in house, but don't let somebody else come and say it, right? Don't let somebody else come and say it. Luke RJ's taking it personally. But again, that's what makes college out. So that's why for some people, I'm not their cup of tea. That's why for some fans, they don't like what I do because I'll keep it a buck. I'll call it for what it is. I'll be very honest and blunt. And I'll say things about your favorite player, your favorite coach, and your favorite team that you're not going to like. Flat out. That's it. Right now, it is popular to say, oh, Will Muschamp sucked. To hell with him. He sucked. Guys, I remember very, very, very vividly when I called for Will Muschamp's job. Oh my God. It was like I slapped somebody's mama in the face. That's how people took it. I mean, the vitriol, the hatred, the disgust. And not with everyone, some agree, but a lot of, I really struck a nerve with Gamecock Nation. Because again, people look at the coaches like their family. They look at the players like their kids. You know, they take it personal. Luke RJ's taking it personal. When I say the 90s was dog shit, he's saying, I'm taking that personal because I have an attachment to Steve Taniel. I have an attachment to the CarQuest Bowl. I have an attachment to this player and that player. And you know what? We might have gone 1-21 and 0-11, but that's my 1-21. That's my 0-11. That's my dog shit. But it's true. It is true. And it's okay. We can wrap our arms around it and embrace it and say, thank God we're not there anymore. Thank God we're not there anymore. But it doesn't change what it is. It doesn't change what it is. And I got nothing but love for Luke RJ. I appreciate Luke RJ. Without Luke RJ, these types of banter, I like having different types of things like this to talk about. But it doesn't change the facts. Doesn't change the facts. Does not change the facts. I tell you what, Luke RJ, if we ever go through another decade like that, you're not going to like my content very much. I can just tell you that right now. You're not. You're not. So it is what it is, and I can't believe the conversation's still going on. I can't believe it's still going on. But here we are. Anyways, 843-790-33 7, 7. Derek Johnson, favorite true freshman for this season. Offensively, probably Landon Sampson. Defensively,
Call from
RJ.
Keenan Nelson Jr.
to accept.
Luke RJ.
Thank you.
What's up, man?
What's up, Chris?
I'm just chilling,
Man,
hanging out, having a day.
I feel like I need to apologize to you, man, or something, man. This kind of got out of control. I support everything you say. You could say anything. That just struck a nerve yesterday, man.
Luke RJ, you don't need to apologize for anything, my guy. I again, when I say the beauty's in the banter, I mean it. And so the people that disagree with me the most are some of the biggest supporters of the business and the show. So, that's the beautiful thing about it, my guys. Listen, we're just talking sports. It isn't like life or death. It's supposed to be fun. The debate is what makes it fun. So there's no apology needed, I can assure you.
Yeah, I don't even tweet much, but just to see it like that, I commented on it when I should just let it go. But it's like you say, it's not serious. It's not even but just to clear up everything, man. Yeah, I just going to the games every weekend, or like 7 times a year. When you're younger, it wasn't even, I watched the games. I stayed in the stadium the whole game. But as a kid, you're not drinking or anything like that. So the games were all that, was the big part of going to the games or whatever. You just sit there and watch. And I don't know. I don't feel like I take it personal. I think, I guess I do, but like it's different than like if like you were saying, like talking about like your family or something like that. I don't even really get to take stuff like that personal, and I don't criticize my family either. So that was kind of not true in my opinion. But I don't know, man. I just feel like there was a 7-5 year, 2 6-win seasons, 2 5-win seasons, and it wasn't great. But the whole year, it just seemed a little negative, and I probably shouldn't even have made a big deal about it.
Luke RJ, I just love your passion, man. I do. I genuinely do. I love the passion. It's what makes college athletics great. It's what makes Gamecock fans great. I love it. I genuinely love it, truly. So, hey, I don't know did you catch the first part of the show at all? Like the first 20 minutes?
Oh yeah,
or so?
yeah.
Okay, I did that specifically for you because I wanted you to understand my full thoughts on the program, what it can be, and where we're going versus where we've been, and what prospects need to know about Carolina football and what recruits need to know. Not that I think they take into what I say into any account at all, but maybe they do. So if they do, I want them to know why Carolina is a great place to get an education, to play football, and to come win championships. So I wanted to make sure I got that out there, and that clip will be going out there just the same because guess what, Luke RJ? I keep the energy consistent whether I'm telling you how much Carolina sucks or how great we are. So we're going to keep it consistent either way, keep the energy consistent if nothing else. So I wanted to make sure I did that today and make that point.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that clip would have been out there again after you said that. I was a couple minutes behind, and I had to catch up today. But I did see what you said, and I appreciate that. I just don't want people to think that I don't like your content. I don't like stuff you share, because that's not true. I mean, that's like the only thing I've ever disagreed with you saying or had a problem with, or not even have a problem, but
Yeah, I mean, again, the beauty's in the banter. I mean, listen, I am someone, believe it or not, I enjoy somebody else having a different opinion, different perspective. For example, now this is going to sound crazy to you. This is going to sound crazy. When Shane Beamer was hired, right, and this time last year, we were getting people on the show, tons of guests, and every single one of them told me how great of a hire he was or is. And that's great. That's great. I love hearing that. But in a weird, twisted way, I was like, I would love to talk to someone who thinks the opposite. I would just love to hear the perspective of someone that thinks he's a terrible hire, that thinks we are making a mistake, that thinks Beamer's in over his head. That because I may not agree with them, but I like hearing the other side. I like hearing a different perspective and seeing it from a different viewpoint. Now, the common fan does not want to hear that, which again is why my content is not everyone's cup of tea. Some people do just want to hear what they want to hear. And that's okay, but that's just not the way I'm wired. I think we're very capable of having mature conversations in which, I think this, you think that. We'll both give our argument. We might disagree, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So I enjoy the other side of it. You know what I mean? I enjoy hearing that other side. So again, I don't know if people, I don't think people think that we have some feud going on. I think it's just back and forth convo. But I mean, if they do think that, I guess listen, people, here's the thing, Luke, RJ, people on social media, obviously when you do what I do, you got to learn this. People are going to think whatever they want anyways. They're seeing something through a lens, through a scope. You can't really worry about what other people think about anything because it is what it is. So, I love the banter. I love it. I love going back and forth. Hey, I might say something this season that, you know what, I might come out week 3, we're 1-2. Hey, Rattler needs to be benched. That would cause a stir, wouldn't it? People wouldn't agree. But we all want to see the same thing at the end of the day, which is the Gamecocks win. That's it. We might have different opinions on how to get there, but we all want to see the same thing. Bottom line, end of discussion, end of the day, that's what we all want to see. So I love the banter, man. You never got to apologize for, and especially this time of year, man, things are slow. Things are like, dude, why not? Embrace debate. Embrace debate. It's a good time.
Big Al.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't tune in to agree with everything you say, but I think it's the negativity. Like, if I think it's like putting a bad light on South Carolina, I kind of that's when I think that it's not necessarily necessary, but that's just my opinion. And it wasn't that big of a deal. I made it bigger than it was. But I had a couple other things to talk about that I was thinking about. With NIL, remember we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about with NIL, the reason that was started is so that, like, in my mind, it was started so the players could make money if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, if they had their own business or something, then they could make money, and because they were amateurs and they couldn't. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So if they yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like I think of the example, like the I think it was UCF. Like there was a kicker that had like a YouTube channel, or I said many times I love the NIL because if I want to go give Luke Doty $100 for an autograph, he shouldn't get in trouble for that because I value his signature or something like that. So, yes, which I think is what the NCAA was thinking when they did it, right? Players making money off their name, image, likeness, but not necessarily in the way they're doing it now from all these different third parties and these other businesses and LLCs that are just throwing them cash.
Right. For recruiting.
Right.
I mean, it was designed so, like you said, they could just, get, sign something or, have a social media presence and make money off of it. But it's hopefully it's not going to be, as bad as some people think it is, or rumors about whatever it's going to turn into. And then, I listened to the podcast this morning, but yesterday I watched the Duke's Mayo Bowl over. And I think this is what should happen for next season. I think that Joyner should be the backup quarterback. If you go, I watched that game, and that guy, man, he he is a coach on the field. He knows how to get the plays in. Like he's looking to the sideline, like hurry up, get the play in so I can run the play. Like, you know, how many state championships did he win as a quarterback, and he only lost like one game or something? I mean, that dude is a quarterback, man. You know, and you know, if I was watching a game, like if you know, Zeb took a big hit, or you know, or something like that, or he needed a breather. Like, let's say if Rattler needs a breather or gets a big hit, like gets hit real hard or something, needs a breather, Joyner should come in and we wouldn't even lose a beat.
Yeah.
You know that, and I mean he's that talented. He makes all the throws on the run. I mean, he only had one incomplete pass, and he can make every throw that South Carolina would ask him to make.
I would just ask you this. I mean, you know, you want to make him the backup quarterback. I got no problems with that. But how much would he really play? You know what I mean? Are you bringing him in for certain packages? I mean, because I just think Spencer Rattler is going to be the guy, like for sure. There's no doubt. When and why would you take Rattler out? I guess unless you want to, you know, just to mix things up. But is Dak Joyner? My question is: Dak Joyner going to touch the football enough and make an impact? Is he going to touch it enough to make an impact, just being the backup QB? Does he still play wide receiver in that scenario? You know what I mean? Is he still, like, getting on the field?
Well, honestly, the way that all the receivers that we brought in with Van and Wells and Rutger and Leggett now, and you know, Kenyon could be good, and
Stogner, tight end.
I mean, yes, and Kenyon could be good. And there was another player in the spring game that had a big catch. You know, you never know if one play is gonna turn into, you know, a successful season. But you know, he looked like he has potential in the spring game. But as far as with Joyner, you know, I mean, I just think, you know, you want Rattler to play the whole season and every single down. But, like, if he ever needs a breather, maybe Joyner could come in. Or, you know, hopefully he doesn't get hurt. But if anything were to happen, I think he should be the number 2 is what I'm really saying. And then I guess he could still get work at wide receiver, or, you know, just take reps at quarterback. I really don't know what's the best solution. But, you know, he can still play at wide receiver a little bit, you know. I mean, he's better at quarterback probably, but, you know, he can still run routes and catch passes. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they use the Kerryon Joyner, what Satterfield does with him. Because like you did mention, I mean, you brought in a ton of receivers, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think Dak Joyner's a great receiver. I mean, he's not a receiver by trade, right? He was a quarterback. But unfortunately, again, you've got Rattler, and Rattler's going to take basically every snap. I mean, I think Dak's a guy that it would benefit him to touch the football 10 to 12 times a game. But you got a lot of people that need to touch it. I mean, that's the balancing act, my man, and that's kind of what's tough. Because, I mean, you haven't even mentioned the running backs and splitting them out wide and getting them their carries and there's only one football, and there's a lot of guys that want to touch it. So where does the Kerryon Joyner fit into that? And, you know, I put the Mayo Bowl on the top 5, my top 5 list to rewatch. And it's funny, I haven't even rewatched it yet. But I know it's going to be one of my favorites. And that was a magical day for Dak Joyner. I mean, call it for what it is. That was a magical day. Do I think on a week in, week out basis he could replicate that or would replicate that? I'm not 110% sure he would. I think it was a great game plan. You think Dak Joyner's going to go 15 for 16 on a weekly basis?
Maybe not only one incompletion, but I think he could do a pretty solid job, or let's say better than any other quarterback we have on the roster behind Rattler. That's what I think.
Outside of Rattler, I mean, I think as long as I'll put it to you this way. I like, if they put him in the right situation scheme-wise, I think it's very possible. And I'm going to say this, but this also applies to everyone outside of Rattler. I mean, Dak's a guy certainly that if we're running the ball, which I think our run game is probably going to be better with him back there because he can run, then he'll have a lot of success. I don't think he's going to drop back 40 times and beat you. I don't think I mean, this sounds crazy to say because of what happened in the Mayo Bowl. Do I think he's an elite passer of the football? He's not Spencer Rattler. I don't think he has that type of arm talent. It's good enough. It's good enough. Mm-hmm. Is it good enough on a week-in, week-out basis? I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, you know what sucks, Luke RJ, is we'll never find out. We'll never find out. And I mean, I'm so happy.
Rattler's going to be in there.
Right, and I'm so happy Dak wants to be a Gamecock. I'm so happy he is a Gamecock. It's a little surprising to me he didn't want to go play quarterback somewhere. It's surprising, just a little bit. It's just a little bit. But I also think, too, like, if he wants a shot at the league, he's going to have to play a different position. Have to. He doesn't have a choice. He's not a quarterback at the next level.
Yeah. Well, that's the factor, too. But, you know, I forgot what I was going to say. Damn. What was the last thing you said, though? What was the last thing you were talking about?
Just that I don't think he's an elite passer of the football. I think that, you know, I think running some sort of like speed option spread thing with Dak would work. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's only one guy on this roster you could ask to drop back and throw it 40 times, and that would be Rattler. I mean, his arm talent speaks. And I'm just going to tell you, probably going into the season, Luke Doty is probably going to be the number 2 QB. Just going off spring ball. But I want to see them use Dak in some sort of wildcat, especially, you know what I think, especially in the red zone. I'd love to see that in the red zone. Mix it up, especially if we're struggling to run the ball again. You got to get a little creative.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see it.
Well, with Dak, the thing I was noticing about the bowl game is, you know, he understands to move the chains, and he uses his leg, gets that first down. Well, you got another 4 downs to do something, or 3 until you have to punt or kick. But I mean, he's just smart, man. And I mean, watch when he throws on the run, like those he gets the ball. He understands that you got to just get it there to the playmaker. Just get it in their hands anyway. It doesn't matter how you get it there, but he can run with his legs. He can get the first down. I mean, you know, it's just and you know, I was thinking about the bowl game with the MVP, and I was even thinking like with the home games or something, you could almost like announce like an MVP of like after the game and say he was the most valuable player. And then that, I don't know how you would manage, you know, like, you know, stuff like that with the coaches and stuff, but you could just say like Dak Joyner or Spencer Rattler was the MVP of this game, or, you know, how they do in the video games. Right. And that could turn into maybe some kind of, you know, financial benefit or something like that with NIL. I don't know. But it just seems like it could, that would be cool to know who was the most valuable player, like if you won the game or something.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like I said, I'm very intrigued to see how they use Dak, how they use him as a player in this offense. I mean, he obviously showed you in the bowl game what he's capable of. I think definitely at minimum, dude, like some trick plays, something, dude. Like get the ball in his hands in some way. But again, we're gonna have a lot of guys fighting for it, so which is great. That's the position you want to be in. A lot of great football players pushing each other, and let the best man win. That's it. Let the guys that give us the best chance to win, let them be the ones that lead us.
I'd let him back up Rattler, and we wouldn't miss a beat. Well, I mean, you know, we could win with him back there, you know, if everything works the same as the bowl game.
Fair enough. I mean, worked before, why not?
All right, Chris.
Luke, I appreciate you, my guy. Always a pleasure chatting with you. Luke RJ. Great stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Trevor, give us some looks in the red zone. I agree with you. Hey, guys, let's jump into a quick break. But I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls as well. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Jeff Gullidge says, I heard some where the Gamecocks are going to try to run an offense like the Rams. I did see that as well. He said they had a ton of options and players that could beat you. So with all these options and weapons we have each week, someone could have a big game. 1 week it's going to be the quarterback, 1 week the running backs, 1 week the receivers, tight ends, so on. Yeah, I mean that's a great spot to be in, right? We're not just a one-trick pony. It's not like, well, we stop this one guy, we stop the whole offense. You know, you want to be in a position where you got multiple guys that are stepping up and making big plays. And so, yeah, I mean, again, that's a great spot to be in. And we got a bunch of guys fighting for the football. And, hey, that's how our best teams in school history were. And it's a good spot to be in, no doubt. Justin, yes, I saw you texted. Give me just a second, my guy. Justin Martin says, Ray Tanner hires have been bad. Clemson has a smart AD. Chris, do you watch sports movies? Yes, I do, Justin. Yes, I do. And, yeah, Ray Tanner has been less than stellar. Yeah, Tanner Land, I knew that Kingston's daughter went to Clemson. Yes. Third. 73% of our production returns. How about that? South Carolina was the only team in college football last season that had 4 different starting quarterbacks win football games.